Hello and welcome back to ZeldaSpeedRuns, everyone. Today we're showing another match in the Link to the Past No Midget Lichess tournament. We've got FoxLisk versus Lanxion today. Should be an absolutely awesome match. And commentating today will be Bjorn and Josh. How are you two doing today?
Doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Excited for this match. Should be a good one.
Yeah, this is the first really high-level part of the bracket kicking off. The first matchup between two players who have 125 PBs. The first of many upcoming matches between players with the 125s or better. And these two guys were until this morning neck and neck in PBs. FoxLisk just putting up a PB like less than 24 hours ago. It's going to be exciting. Should be a close race. And like a lot of the races in this tournament, exciting for us to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Not only do these players have 125s, they have low 125s even. So, especially Fox's. He's got a 125 OX now.
Yeah, Fox basically has run 124 caliber until Ganon. Although I didn't see his Ganon, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that it was just bad RNG and not that he messed anything up in his Ganon. Other than that, he basically was on a 124 pace easily. Lanxion certainly would have a 124 by now if he, didn't run 4 or 5 other speed and or casual games all the time. So both these players have the skill to put up 124s, and just a matter of time for both of them.
Yeah. So we've got Escape going, which is the most exciting segment in the entire run. It's just action-packed, high intensity.
Both players mashing their buttons a lot. Gotta get those pumps. We're gonna see potentially some significant for Escape. There's only a couple rooms that really have a large variance in RNG, so we could see a second or two open up. Ball and chain, maybe a second or two. But really, this is just about, I don't know, for me, in a tournament race, my escapes are just terrible. I feel like I get all of my nerves in Escape and Eastern when there's something on the line, like in a tournament, so very tough for me to play these first early splits.
The Lynx makes a mistake there and has to kill the guard in 3 slashes. Puts him a little bit behind, but not much. Killing that guard with 3 slashes actually isn't terrible. Some people assume it is sometimes, but it really isn't.
Pretty good recovery, just realizing, okay, this is what I did, here's how I fix it. That's actually, honestly, at this level, you have a really good mistake recovery. That's kind of how you get down to the level these guys are at. There's not a lot of strats you're really putting in play that are different between 129 and 125. It's more about just consistency and being able to see that you've made a mistake and know what to do after it.
Yeah, for sure. Coming up on ball and chain. I would assume they're both going to be doing the 8 slash strat, where you get below the soldier and hit him 8 times with your sword. That's exactly what's happening.
We've seen a lot of one pot in this tournament, actually, which is pretty close to 8 slash as far as optimal strats go. But yeah, both these players, basically just what you're used to. These guys have been doing 8 slash forever, so even if it's only potentially going to save a couple frames, might as well keep doing 8 slash. And they're pretty much synced coming out of Zelda Cell, which is always nice to see too.
Yeah, for less experienced players, that room can actually be pretty scary, because ball and chain does a full heart of damage. Especially if you've accidentally taken damage on the way there. You can get yourself in trouble. I've definitely done it before in a race.
Feels different in a tournament race, right? Like, make a mistake, you go down there with 2 hearts, and you can only take 1 hit from him. You just reset you just reset in a PB attempt, and not really an option in a tournament race. So yeah,
It loses a solid minute to die to him.
Yeah,
it's bad.
It's not even something you're really thinking about until you kind of you're in the room and you don't have like a lot of the strats in this game. You don't have you know, unless you've practiced a backup safe strat for ball and chain, like maybe if you're an 8 slasher normally and decide, oh, well, in a tournament, you know, I'm going to be safe, I'm going to do one pot. You can't do that without actually practicing it, so you're not going to get away from your strats or anything like that. That's usually more dangerous. But yeah, it's just, you know, when every move in this game matters, it can be a lot harder to play. Both players head to the back here, though. Fox at 1.5 hearts is not terrible. He could pick up the heart back here if he really, really wanted to. I don't know if he will. Lanxion at full hearts. Fox skipping the heart pot. That's fine. Maybe on 1 heart you might consider picking it up, but you'd have to get really bad snake RNG and bad luck, taking a lot of hits from these snakes. Even just taking the 1 hit is totally fine. He's got 1 heart for the rest of it and should be fine.
Yeah, it should be good. He will get a time save at the end of the dungeon from his low health relative to Lanxion, which is pretty neat. We'll talk about it some when we get there. But coming into the key rat room, which is one of the highest variance rooms in this dungeon. They both get pretty good ones, though. They're nice. That rat can troll you in a number of ways. Alright.
Lank's getting really friendly rats, and Fox getting pretty solid rats, too. All things considered, could be worse.
And yeah, this cutscene here, when you come into the sanctuary, having rescued Zelda, it's almost a second faster if you are at critical health with your hearts beeping, as FoxLisk is right now. You can actually kind of see the difference in how fast his text is going relative to Lanxion's.
Both players picking up Sankheart. I have seen Lanxion in this tournament skip Sankheart before, so not skipping it here. No chest turns on the Sanctuary Heart chest either. A little disappointing. I know Lanxion for sure will be going for plenty of chest turns in this run. And why not? You know, like to show off, have a little fun in tournament races too. Doesn't all have to be stressful. This Eastern Palace overworld is so annoying. These guys going to the Octorok field now. I've seen multiple runners take 3 hearts of damage on this overworld screen, on this overworld segment in this tournament. And it's not as uncommon as you might think it is. 1 hit from Fox, he should be okay for the rest of it. Lanxion got through unscathed. Having some of these Octoroks on this screen in his way, though. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, these screens are tough to do. There are a lot of situations the game can put you in. And that's one of the big things about getting good at this game is when you start to realize all this, you know, you're seeing everything, pretty much. Situations rarely crop up that surprise you.
Yeah, especially in these segments, like, you've done these segments more than any of the other segments in the game, so it's just pretty much anything that can happen on them you've seen, hopefully.
Yeah, so we don't have anything else to talk about in these segments much, so we can mention pumping. If you're moving north or west, you can mash against walls, the D-pad, to save a pixel, potentially, every time you do it. Big gaming. It does save more time if you're on stairs or in shallow water. But for just moving around normal ground, it's really more of like a just frame saving technique that probably only saves a few seconds over the entire run.
Really, more than anything, I find it just becomes a habit. When you're moving Link in that direction, you're just pumping. Like, you're not even thinking about it eventually. You're just, if Link is going a certain direction, you are pumping him in that direction.
I did a randomizer once in the past, like, year. Just one, because I don't tend to play it, but people were making fun of me for pumping, and I was like, I'm not even thinking about it. It's just what I do. when I'm controlling Link.
Yeah. Lanxion getting a half chest turn here in the damage boost big key room. Fox got a pretty good damage boost too. They're both through on one attempt. That's what you want to see there.
Going into upstairs eastern, which is the trickiest part of the dungeon in my opinion. Have a number of rooms that could go pretty poorly.
Yeah, especially trying to go fast back here. Not super uncommon even to see high-level runners take deaths in Eastern. There are a lot of enemies back here hit for 1 heart, and a lot of the strats you're trying to do are pretty tight, especially in the Red Igor room coming up. But with 2.5 hearts, both these runners should be totally safe. It's one of the big benefits of Sank Heart.
Lynx shoots 2 arrows. Interesting. Fox having trouble with that other Stalfos.
Both getting through double readies. Lanxion getting a red rupee drop, so he's got a lot more rupees here in the Armos fight. Gonna do the pinkest strat. I'm so bad at this strat. They're both gonna do the same strat. I've actually tried. I have a really bad Armos fight, and I just do the regular one. Those guys did very nicely with the pinkest strat. They're both through Eastern, and we can get to the fun part of the run, finally.
Yeah, it helped me a lot to go on Strat Hub and look at like Pincus's entry on the fight, and he has like a paragraph of notes about how to do it. That it helped me a lot. It took me from not really comprehending what was so good about it to being pretty good at that strat.
I probably should switch and really practice it, just because even like the other strat that I'm doing, I'm not anywhere close to optimal with it. So if I could get that one down and close to optimal, I'd have a nice 30 frames per Eastern to save or something.
Yeah. Normal top right is actually really hard to get.
Really hard for optimal, yeah.
Yeah.
First spin speeds of the run. Fox missing on retrying. You don't want to leave the screen without spin speed. You will sit here and retry as many times as it takes. Lanxion got his first one, so he's going to build a little bit of a early lead on the overworld.
Yeah, it's always faster to retry that one and get it than it is to just go.
It's miserable. The one, like, sometimes you'll miss it 2 or 3 times and you'll just get fed up and leave. And I've always immediately regretted not continuing to try. It's just such a miserable screen.
Yeah. There are some that it's definitely not worth it to retry, like these library ones that they might be going for.
Most of the spin speeds are probably not worth retrying, but there are a couple screens. Death Mountain screen.
Yeah. And that
screen, certainly, yeah. That doesn't stop me from retrying spin speed screens that I know I shouldn't, but Lanxion doing pretty well, hitting 2 for 2. He didn't go for the first library screen spin speed, but that's not a very important one to go for. I don't know, some days you just wake up and can't spin speed, so this can be the start of some bad feelings when you just go 0 for 3 or something like that.
Yeah. This overworld section is really tough. And the level these runners are at is where you start to get pretty good and consistent at your overworld movement.
Tiny water dash there for Lanx feels bad when you kind of miss time. Sometimes there's so much lag on your dash to the left. Even when you're prepared for the lag, it still throws you off and you cut that dash too soon and end up in the water, lose a couple frames. It feels worse than it actually is, but it feels pretty bad. Pretty solid overworld, though, all things considered, for Lanx. He's going to be having a nice entry time. Fox is going to lose a little bit on Lanx after that rough Eastern Palace exit, but the majority of time difference usually in Desert Palace is going to be on the boss, so it's all just a prelude to Lanmo.
Both doing the same strategies in these rooms, I think. Yeah. he'll be headed to get the big key. There's a little RNG in the room with the big key. The cannonballs can potentially block your path. Let's see if either of them has to stop their dash. Lanx does. He gets bad pattern there.
It looked like Lanx almost was going to be able to get through there. I'm not 100% if he could have or couldn't. He decided to cut the dash, which is fine. I mean, usually, if you can almost make it through, even if it hits you, you get a damage boost towards the chest, and I think it's sort of time neutral for that to happen.
Yeah.
Other times you just get hit sideways, and it's no good. So tough to get a read sometimes when it's that close, especially if you know you moved a little bit out of the door before the dash started or something.
FoxLisk having to get the blue rupee in this room. Lanx is already completely good on rupees for the rest of the game.
Yeah, most runners I think will pick up the blue there if they're not yet at 4 rupees. I even pick it up if I'm not at 9 rupees just because it saves me usually having to pick up all 4 from the first tree pull. Lanx going pretty far down there on that spin speed.
Yeah, I think it was a frame from jumping there. That was a little scary.
It felt safer to me when I started holding diagonal off of the off of the stairs. I don't know if it actually gives you more time to react, but it feels safer for some reason than the straight down dash.
Link's doing a new strategy in this room that FoxLisk does not do.
Fox getting good RNG though, so making up. I don't remember even how much it loses to do the strat that Lanx did. It's single-digit frames certainly. Both in this cutscene headed into Landmo. We would like to see some 3 cycles. Very hard fight to learn. It's a lot of learning in this fight, basically. Learning and then reading and reacting to what you see. First cycle, very important. Lanx missing that 3rd worm, which usually means it's going to be tough to get a 3 cycle, but yeah, he's going to need 3 on the 3rd worm. He's going to need a good jump here from it. Oh, and he's going to miss that one anyway, so it didn't matter. He did kill the 3rd worm, and I think it's just 1 slash. Lanx, alright, never mind. He's fine.
Still fighting. Okay, he manages to clean it up there.
Both with, were those early 4s for both of them? I think they were both early 4s. I was watching the fight very carefully, but I was not counting the cycles.
Yeah, I wasn't counting the cycles either. Little strategy variance there. Link's going for a faster, harder strat. You gotta slash and dash through that Sandman.
Hera is where the run really takes a turn. Very dangerous split for all levels of the game. There's just so many things that are potential major time losses. We did see Fox menu to boomerang actually. I forgot to even look out for that. It's such a new thing that it doesn't even register as something that people are going to do. But a relatively recent discovery that pausing in between the heart pickup and the pendant dropping from Landmo won't actually lose you any time to do a menu there. So some runners are menuing to the boomerang to make this overworld section a little safer. You see Fox being able to boom that pickle there. You can boom one of the pickles if he gets in your way on the south shore as well. Just a fun little thing that is definitely not in my muscle memory yet, so it'll probably be months before I actually remember to do it in a run.
Yeah, that's a technique a Japanese runner named Todorobi found in the past couple of weeks, I think. That's the only place it's relevant in this category. In most other categories, actually, it's a bigger deal. It's like, this is the least impacted speedrun of this game.
Oh man, Lanx getting real beat up here. Luckily able to get through. I wasn't sure if that second dead rock was going to block him once he'd slashed it, but 3 hearts down, now 4 hearts down, not the way you want to start this segment. Not an unfamiliar feeling, though, if you play this game.
Oh man. Okay. Wow.
It was really close, but he got through above that last dead rock. They're synced up again, which is nice, but I wonder what health situation Lanx would consider taking a death warp.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
I don't know about 2 hearts, but it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
One of the many Moldorm might make the decision a lot easier here at the beginning of Hera for him.
I don't think he'll do it here, but he might do it at Torches, depending on how everything goes. Okay, he safely avoids. Hera, any runner will tell you that this segment often, it seems like it can smell the blood. and if you enter on low hearts, it just really tries as hard as it can to screw you over.
Yeah, I mean, once you're in the dungeon, you don't tend to take a lot of damage, but you certainly can take damage in almost every screen. Just because you don't normally take damage doesn't mean you can't, but you can lose hearts in Beetles, you can certainly lose hearts in Petting Zoo, you can lose hearts on Moldorm, so, you know, losing your entire heart buffer on Death Mountain like Lanx did is always just one of those, well, okay, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop in any one of these rooms now.
Yeah. Doing the Torches room. This is, to me, this is one of the hardest rooms in Light World to do fast. I'm sure most other top players would agree. Going up to Beetles, which is also a pretty hard room. Both going for the fastest strat. Actually, really well executed. Oh,
Lanx already on the bomb drop. Wow.
Yeah.
The good news is sometimes that means you can get back around to the arrows, the second arrows, but not what you want to see. Already missing the bomb in Hera.
Lanx does get that safety heart.
I think Lanx was on the lowest possible pixel there.
Yeah, I was nervous there. I was like, is this gonna work? It's been so long since I bonked, though. I honestly not super aware of the window.
Used my main, but I haven't done it that much lately, so I wasn't sure. He was definitely really low, but got through. Both on Moldorm. Lanx actually did very nicely upstairs. Hera not taking any damage and doing the rooms very fast as well. They're both on Moldorm here. They're going to try and track him down. Not a great position early for wow, that spin hit. Not sure how. Fox having a pretty smooth fight. I think just one hit away from the last phase.
Oh, okay.
Oh, got a very nice slash there.
Okay. Lanx does manage to get him down. He had some unfortunate luck at the beginning of that fight, like you said. Moldorm went on the left side of the middle hole, and that's really annoying, because the middle hole is like a bit offset to the left. You don't really have a lot of room to move around Moldorm when he's over there.
Yeah, you pretty much have to make a decision as soon as you see Moldorm over there to start the fight. How aggressive do I want to be? And in a tournament race, kind of just waiting and having him come back over is a very reasonable choice. If that's the choice that Lanx made, to just kind of wait over there. You can kind of get close to the hole and wait for him to bounce off the hole, or maybe come back around towards you while you're over there, but there's a much smaller margin of error when you're over there with him.
Got tree rubies upcoming. We're gonna pull on this tree, get some blues, kill 4 enemies without taking any damage, pull another tree, and out comes 80 rupees.
No pickle shot for either runner. I can understand it. Not happy about it.
Do you still go for pickle shot?
I like the pickle shot.
Oh no!
I think I enjoy it.
You gotta be the lone holdout on that one.
It's a nice little shot of adrenaline here as you close in on the Master Sword, and there's some subtle things that you kind of have to learn about pickle movement. And percentages. I don't know. I don't really like the bird shot so much. But I think it's just stubbornness mostly.
The pickle shot is a good bit faster than the bird shot, but a lot of
As long
players
as
find
you train yourself, never ever dash into the pickle. Like even if your arrow's gonna miss, like that's the big thing. Because Lanx, forgetting the number of text boxes in the Master Sword cutscene, checking the map to see where he's supposed to go next.
FoxLisk doing a pretty tough strategy, in my opinion, dashing the crow after Master Sword. He's one of the kills you want to get, that crow. And it's really not any faster to dash into the crow from my testing, but it does save you a drop. Because enemies cannot drop things if you dash kill them. Interesting property of this game that's about to be abused again in a little bit.
I kind of wish that the run had some more room for us to do manipulation of drops like that. It's really only relevant in a couple spots, but it does feel very speed run-ish to do that. Agate Tower is a very tough segment. The overworld is tough to be optimal on, and then the dungeon itself is a miniature kind of gauntlet with some very annoying rooms. Really bad aggro here on Fox's side.
Wow, he
Okay
rescued.
with the dash, yeah. You hate seeing that guy go down. It's just not what you want to see at all, but the dash worked out. You don't want to get any drops from the enemies in that room. Neither player does. We'll see how the Dark Maze goes for both players. Nice chest turn from Lanx, pretty solid room from Fox. Lanx going with the dash strats on most of these straightaways, whereas Fox went with mostly walks, which I'm a fan of the walk strats. It's not that much slower than cutting out some of those dashes, and those dashes can get you in a lot of trouble in that room.
Definitely.
Oh no!
That hurts.
Yeah, it's tough. You want to either... Most of the time, you just want to walk right past that guy, and it's going to be fine, and sometimes he'll stop, and you kind of want to slash him, and it was just kind of wrong direction slash from Lanx. Really, really nice Agate Tower from Fox on the other side. Once we got in the dungeon, those rooms went very smoothly.
Very good. He was able to keep sword beams in that last room. You can beam the guard off. And it saves a little lag on the next transition. Something Lanx won't be able to do. Aghanim time. Let's hope they both get low blue balls.
Fox basically a cutscene ahead here. This is a pretty long cutscene, so he's opened up a nice lead between the time he made up in Hera and here in the tower. But sometimes Aghanim doesn't care about your lead. Nothing we can do about the RNG in this fight. It's completely unmanipulatable for humans. So far so good on Fox. Don't think he's gotten any. Okay, spoke too soon. There's one. Speaking for myself, in a tournament race, your goal is typically not PBing, so I don't think you're really concerned about getting as few blue balls as possible. You kind of just want it to be equal or lesser than your opponent. I think that's 2 for Fox as he finishes his fight. And I think if Lanx gets one more energy ball here, it's only 1 for him. And of course I'm wrong, because counting in math is impossible. So that was 2 for both of them, I am assuming.
That's nice.
Sometimes Agnum gives us what we want.
Yep.
Dark World is really where the difficulty ramps up, though.
Yeah.
The difference between a high-level runner and a more mid-level runner in Light World is not even close to the difference between a high-level and mid-level runner in Dark World. There's just so much more time save when you are at a high level of this game. In Dark World, both these players are at a high level, and we'll be looking to put together as good a Dark World as they can. Lots of opportunities, of course, to lose time in the Dark World as well. Palace of Darkness is a pretty swingy split, just because the hard rooms can lose you lots and lots of time, but it's actually kind of a straightforward split, and once you get the Hammer Yump and Helmasaur down, for the most part, you're having a, if you have those two things very good, most of the time your split's going to be very good.
Yeah, it's actually surprising to me sometimes. Like, I don't even really recognize myself how much the difficulty jumps in Dark World, but then I'll be watching a 125 or 126 runner where, from my perspective, the Light World time that they got was really workable and fine, and then immediately the quality drops off from a 124 player's perspective. Straight away in Palace of Darkness. It's really interesting how that happens, or tends to happen.
It's just a hard game. It's a hard game. Doesn't matter if you're just starting out, if you've played for a year, if you've played for 5 years. The game is not easy, and it never will be.
But yeah, this dungeon's pretty tough. A lot of little things that can go wrong. One of them being this bomb that Fox is doing right now. Yeah, he gets hit by it.
But just threw it a little bit too high. It's pretty easy to do. It's not the worst thing in the world. You can get the heart drop from the mini Helma on the bridge, and worst case scenario, you'll be able to get an extra heart from one of the pots on your way to Mimics. But it's not the way you want to start out the split, taking free damage.
Yeah, Lynx gets through that screen just fine. FoxLisk going to hammer jump soon. Double pixel perfect on the Y position.
This is another one that in a tournament race feels like you almost want to do it differently than you normally would in a run. Maybe if you use sword buffers normally, you switch to menu buffers just to give yourself some more time. Very nice sword buffer there at the end from Fox. Realized he'd gone up a little bit higher than he wanted to, came back down the 1 pixel to make it. Lanxion now into his Hammer Yump.
Having to use some buffers. Every one of those loses about a second. But better to lose that little bit of time than to fail it outright.
Yeah, you if you don't make it and you have attempted it, even at the fastest possible first attempt, you're going to lose 14-15 seconds from having to retry. Lanxion, to me, looked like clearly was being a little deliberate with his reads in the pause menus too, just making sure that he was aware where he was. The worst feeling on the Hammer Yump is if you misread where you are, you think you have it, or you thought you were off and you move, and now you realize, hey, I was on it the first time. That's just a terrible feeling, but
Yeah.
getting through it, only losing 4 or 5 seconds to some extra buffer is much better than, dropping 20 seconds there.
FoxLisk got the eye statue cutscene. Link's not far behind. You go into the basement. Got a room upcoming called Turtle Room, where you gotta kill 6 turtles, I believe. You can get bad RNG in this room where they kind of waste like a second or a second and a half. but FoxLisk gets it perfect. Yep. That's good. Good to get that behind you. And then we've got Helmasaur, which to me is one of the hardest bosses to consistently get down in this game.
The spin speed strat has helped a little bit, but it's still not a simple fight by any means. Looks like Fox got his spin speed. He's into his hammers now. No fireball here, which is always nice. Lanxion got a little bit less than stellar movement from those turtles. No fireball in phase 2, so he's got a very smooth and easy fight. You'll love to see it, Helmasaur.
That was a really nice fight. Let's see. Looks like Link's also hit the spin speed. He's going to get a fireball phase here. Handling it pretty well. He played it really safe, waiting for the fireball there. If you destroy Helmasaur's mask when he spits a fireball, the fireball will despawn, which can be pretty helpful in phase 2. A lot of top players will just continue though through that and not even worry about it, just because it's faster than waiting on him to attack.
What I've seen a lot of this tournament, and you saw Lanxion do it very nicely with the dodging of the fireballs while still hammering Helmasaur. I have seen a lot of runners kind of take their foot off the gas and kind of chill out kind of towards the edge of the arena and wait for the fireballs to all explode and then get back to hammering. And there's nothing wrong with that, except it actually, in my experience, makes the fight more dangerous. If you don't really know how to hammer through the fireballs safely, and you just wait them out, it actually throws off the rest of the fight, where if he's going to fireball you on the next phase, you're in a lot of trouble, because now you might only get one hit on him in phase 2, and he's fireballing again, and that can just lead to a lot more damage, or an even longer fight as you try to hide from those fireballs. So really nice job by Lynx. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes you can be in a bad spot, and if the wrong fireball explodes first, you take a hit. But in my experience, it's just better to kind of hammer through that and know how to dodge the fireballs than to play it super safe.
Yeah. For any less experienced runner, the thing that helped me a lot with dodging the fireballs, I don't know why I keep wanting to say firebars, the fireballs, is that the first one to explode is random, but then after that they actually explode in a clockwise direction. It helps a lot to realize that, because then you can plan your movement around where they're going to be expanding.
Yeah, like a lot of things in this game, typically it's usually a piece of information or knowledge that you're missing and not the execution skill to do something. So like you said, knowing that that's how the fight works is sometimes the key to just being able to do it, whereas you're not even really, it's not like you got better at the fight, you just now learned, oh, this is how it works. And that's 90% of the rooms and screens in this game, is knowing how they work rather than leveling up to some special skill in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Fox had a little bit of trouble on the Hammer Dash Bridge. Other than that, his overworld has looked pretty good. It's a very tough overworld segment, this Thieves Town overworld. Is it the longest? Maybe it's the second longest overworld.
I think it depends on how you do your shopping. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe Ice is... I guess maybe Ice is longer just because of the Zora's Domain part, but that's also a good percentage of that is a cutscene. Although I guess this is a good percentage of this is a cutscene too. And anyway, after I said that, Fox kind of messed up the 3-guard screen there and got poked a little bit. So he'll be down a heart going to Thieves. Not a big deal. Lanxion getting his flute activated.
FoxLisk going to be headed into Thieves Town.
Thieves Town is a dungeon, and really the whole split. if you take any damage, it tends to be big chunks of damage, and that can be scary, except it's also a split that you just finish without taking any damage a lot of the times. So it can kind of go either way as far as how frightening it is. Usually it comes down to not taking damage in the Hellway. If you can get through Hellway cleanly and not taking 3 or 4 hearts there, the rest of the split should be fine, unless you really either mess something up or get really atrocious RNG. But I like Thieves Town a lot. It's not overly RNG dependent outside of one room, and the rest is a pretty good warm-up right before the run really starts kicking it up a notch in a split or two.
Oh, nice.
Perfectly done.
Good Hellway. Gets no lag, too, which was pretty good.
Even when you hit that dash pixel, the room does not always cooperate. Some of those enemies can just sit right in your way, and then they can even sit in the way of your backup room exit dash. Let's see, Lanxion is off. He's not going to retry the first dash. He's just going to brute force his way through here on the right side. Still fine. I mean, takes a little damage, but again, this is, you know, unless things go catastrophically wrong and not a split, you're gonna be losing 6 more hearts in very often.
Yeah, definitely after Attic, I personally stopped being nervous about what's going to happen. All these rooms at a high level are very, very consistent. You can occasionally maybe have something go wrong in the room Fox is in, the prison room, but for the most part, it should always go well.
Interesting that Fox went with dashes there in the prison. That's a very hard screen to do with dashes. I'm not very good at it.
Yeah.
It is a little safer. It didn't look like any of the Zazacs were in the way, so Fox is just clearly used to dashing in that room and goes with that as his normal strat.
So does Lynx, apparently. FoxLisk executing that switch strat very well. It's a tough strat too, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a really hard one.
Very easy to lose your feel for it.
Blind fight, pretty easy for runners who have played the game as much as these two, although that doesn't mean it never goes wrong. But perfectly done for Fox. Lanx will be headed in there. Obviously, you can keep blind on the script, do the fight the same every time you're in there. It's like the hardest fight in the world when you're first learning the game or playing it casually, and once you've learned the speedrun, it's the easiest fight in the game.
Yeah, this is definitely the easiest fight to me in the entire game. Lynx also has a nice fight, and now we get simultaneous cutscenes. This is actually the shortest crystal cutscene in the run.
Yeah, it feels great.
Yeah.
Just get out of there and continue on with your mid-game. Fox's run is actually looking pretty solid. He's not... I'm looking at his splits. He's not running against his PB. He's running against kind of some goal splits, and he's pretty much even with his goal splits right now. So having a nice, solid tournament run, I'd say. Lanxion doing pretty well as well, only about 25, 30-ish seconds behind, and lots of Dark World remaining. Skullwoods is a pretty short split, and typically it's pretty consistent, but there are some things that can go majorly wrong, obviously, in here as well, especially the boss fight. Before we do that, we gotta get our Tempered Sword. We've gotta execute our Fence Dash. Pick up some money. And then we can head to Skullwoods.
Yeah, Skullwoods can be a scary dungeon sometimes. I feel like it's actually, to me, behind Hera and maybe King Helmasaur. It's the dungeon where I feel the absence of Sanctuary Heart the most. I don't know if other players are that way, but I feel like with Sanctuary Heart, I'm very confident in how it's going to go, and without it, much less so.
It is a pretty nice buffer to have that extra heart for here, especially because a lot of the hits you're going to take are typically from enemies that are going to do 2 hearts damage. Like any mummy hits are going to be 2 whole hearts, and so having the odd number of hearts coming in here is very nice versus the even number of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
When the split goes smoothly, you don't take much damage at all outside of the damage you intentionally take, but when the split doesn't go well, and you get bodied in this room that Fox just did very nicely, also getting the bomb drop, so he's picked up both the bomb drop and the arrow drop, whereas Lanx missed both of them before he even got through the light world. Should be sitting pretty with his resources. Lanx gonna head back to pick up his big key while Fox picks up his fire rod. I think he's just going to do the same spin setup for the bomb jump that he did in Hera. Oh no!
No! Wow.
He just, the slash just missed the mini Moldorm, and the mini Moldorm sat on him. That was kind of unbelievable. Well, he did have an extra bomb to use since he had just picked one up from the drop. 4 hearts is kind of the uncomfortable zone, I'd say, for the rest of the back of the dungeon. 5 hearts versus 4 hearts is a huge difference for me mentally.
I
don't know how much it affects Fox, but certainly you'd like to have a little bit to compose yourself after something ridiculous like that happens.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I'm not sure how his slash missed. Slashes can be weird in this game. It's kind of got like an asymmetrical nature to it.
Mini Moldorms can be weird in this game.
Yeah, that's also true. Oh no!
Alright, he didn't die.
Yeah, he nearly died there. Wow.
Really easy to die there when you get stuck and take the first hit, because usually either you're not expecting it. Oh man, he's down to 1. He's going to pick up that for a little bit of extra safety. It's not much, since any hit from Mothiel is going to do 2 damage.
Wow.
But,
this will be a clincher here.
Yeah.
He does get the double hit. Okay, wow.
Yep. Nice. It's a fight that you're going to finish without taking damage an awful lot of the time, but knowing you basically can't take much damage definitely changes it. Really nicely done. That double hit is so important to start off the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're on 2 hearts or you're on 7 like Lanx is, it's just gonna make the fight so much faster and more consistent almost every time you do it.
Wow, Lanx. I don't think he got the double. He's getting kind of rough luck with Mothula hanging out at the top of the room. Finally gets it done.
See how tough that is when the fight gets to that stage and there's just all the spikes moving and the screen is lagged, and it just becomes so hard to navigate and finish off quickly.
Yeah, that's unfortunate too, because with the trouble Fox had in the dungeon itself, and Lanx having a pretty clean dungeon, he could have made up a good bit of time there, but I'm not sure he really made up any with how Moth went compared to Fox's fight.
Yeah, if anything, Fox may have even still gained a couple seconds. The bomb jump failure is obviously bad, but doesn't lose a ton of time. You're right there, you just get to retry again. And then the hit he took in Mummies is also not a huge time loss either, so I think in the grand scheme of things, since he survived, he would take that trade-off for a very clean, almost perfect moth fight.
Yeah.
But Ice Palace is basically in my mind, it's sort of the gateway to the rest of the run. This is where things really ramp up. This is all the boss fights. So, you're gonna have 2 boss fights coming up in the next couple splits that are the huge run killers. In addition to Ice Palace just being very, very difficult. Not a fun split. Just not nobody really enjoys their time in Ice Palace. At least I don't. I did see go for the safe dash there on the lotto screen. Let's see what Lanx does. He's just gonna go for it. All right, he gets not lottery. That's nice.
The safe dash does lose like nearly a second, I think.
It's pretty significant. I've seen it used by a lot of runners here in the tournament who probably it's not their main strat in non-tournament settings, and I think it actually has convinced me I probably am going to do the same thing, because taking a hit from that Ropa is just, it's the worst.
Yeah, I think the thing that came around for me is recently I went into Louis' stream and saw he had a 610 Ice Gold, and I asked him if it was with the safe lottery dash, and he said yes.
Yeah.
Louis really the pioneer of that strategy. So yeah, I could see myself switching over to the safe strat too, even in RTA attempts. It just really sucks to get hit there. Really, really sucks.
Well, Lanx didn't get hit by the fireball, at least. Did jump in the water there. Fox is going to be able to nicely dodge all of the enemies that were gunning for him there. Pretty solid overall, all things considered. 245 warp. The punishing thing about Ice Palace is you make a mistake in any of these rooms, you're losing a multitude of seconds, and depending on how fast and how aggressive you want to push some of them, it can make it even harder.
Yeah. It really sucks in any of these first rooms if you drop more than 1 heart. So you can't do Link's getting bad RNG here. And missing the warp. It's going to cost him a little bit.
I think Lanx had a path to swim by and maybe just didn't think he was going to be able to. And when the Zora is that low, you actually can't fire rod him. So he spent the fire rod shot, and then he knew he basically couldn't do anything else about the Zora and had to wait it out. Just a terrible feeling. Fox getting the damage boost off of the jelly, but didn't hit the switch with the bomb, so...
That's fine. He'll have sword beams here, and it's not that bad to...
It doesn't take much time at all, as long as that not standing where he is. But even so, not a huge loss. Very nice correction on the bomb jump. Lanx playing it nice and safe and deliberate in that room. Fox going for the... Oh,
no. Yeah, this is... The bad thing about this strategy to me is how rough it is if that happens.
Losing an eternity.
Yeah. The other strategy, there's like kind of a cap on how bad it can go, you know? But with that, it's just... Ugh.
I like the hammer strat in that room too much to switch to that strat. Plus, I'm not good at it anyway, so it's never really been a consideration for me to switch. But it is faster. In most of the time, it's faster. As long as you don't spin really, really late, I think it's a pretty nice time save. Fox here on Cold Stare. This is a dangerous fight, no matter what level you're at. I assume with that spin, he's gonna go. He can't take a hit from anything else now. He did get one thing, so... Yeah.
Ah ha ha.
One of them is dead.
For Lynx to make up a bunch of time.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's always so stressful when you want to start your slash when the icicles are falling and you can't take a hit from them. Okay, Fox got through. He's... Yikes. I don't think he spun him quite where he wanted to, because he had to walk back a little bit to the left for his first poke dash, and then just didn't have the time to get to his mark for the second poke dash. Lanx performing it exactly like Fox wanted to. Beautifully done.
That was a beautiful fight. Yeah, I think Fox, he hit Cold Stare more to the left than he normally does. Or at least, like you said, that's what it looked like from his movement.
Yeah, just a little bit, but sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah,
when you're doing the poke dash track.
And Cold Stare can really throw you off.
Especially if you're doing poke dash strats, you just don't. It's baked into the movement you're going to do. You don't have the frames to waste to hit him in the wrong spot or something like that. And sometimes you do know the fight well enough to say, if you have done this, then now I need to adjust here. And sometimes it's not going to work anymore once you've moved him in the wrong direction. So those are the risks going for the faster poke dash strats. But I mean, it's not easy to clean that fight up. Fox did a pretty good job once he was kind of off there. It's not uncommon once that happens to just not really know what to do, and you don't know when to slash, you don't know what's safe to go for which Cold Stare puff, and getting out of there, no matter how long it takes, as long as you get out of there without dying, it's probably a win once the fight kind of goes like that. So
looks like
nice recovery.
Yeah. Looks like maybe we'll be blessed with runners who do the same overworld item collection route.
I think every match that I have commentated for in this tournament, I have predicted the wrong thing for the players who are doing the shop. So I'm just going to wait and see what they do.
Yeah. Okay, FoxLisk definitely just doing Swamp Ether, going to Swamp now. We will see if Lanxion follows suit. And he does, so yeah. Probably doing the same thing. Very few players who run this route will do Ice Rod and Mire. There's absolutely no reason to do that. It just risks losing your Mire 2 beams. So yeah. This is nice. Convenient for the watchers to have everything synced up and obvious where the players are in relation to each other. As of Sword Up and Ice Palace, it looks like Fox was 18 seconds ahead. So I do believe Lynx made up quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I think the deficit was closer to 40 or 45 seconds after Skull. So it takes a long time to clean up Cold Stare safely, as one can imagine. Both of them in Swamp. I like Swamp a lot, honestly.
I do too. I think just about any player who's gotten really good at the game actually quite likes it. I enjoy it.
There are definitely a lot of rooms that can be very annoying, and sometimes you're in all of the rooms end up very annoying. But there's a lot of little optimizations that are pretty fun once you start getting them down, because there's not a lot of risk in the dungeon. Like you can have an absolutely miserable dungeon, take a hit from everything, and you're still totally fine and safe, and you're not losing anything except the a couple frames in the rooms where things go wrong. So it's kind of a nice I don't know, intermission in between, like the parts of the run you just got through with Skull Woods and Ice Palace, and then before you continue on to the harder parts of the end game. So I really enjoy it, even when I lose 20 seconds here, which happens a lot because it's Swamp. Unfortunate little dash there on Fox's side, getting hit on his way out of the room always sucks.
Yeah, this is another dungeon that can just put you in a lot of situations.
Like this situation where
Yeah,
the jelly.
situation Fox is in,
Oh, we
which
got
I'm
there.
sure-
That's okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, Fox
can-
getting pulled at the switch and then has the jelly almost in his face on his way out. It's just, what are you supposed to
Yeah.
do?
and it can be tough for a long time to come to grips with all the different situations. And one of the rules I live by in this dungeon is to never trust the enemies to cooperate with you. Almost always works out poorly.
And I think it lulls players into a false sense of security sometimes because most of these rooms, most of the time, are completely safe to just, dash straight through or do your normal strat. And then
Mhm.
the 1 out of, 8 times you're in that room, something weird happens and you kind of say, I don't even know what happened there. Like, usually that room is fine. So it takes a long time to get used to all of the things that can happen so that you even
Yeah.
know what to look out for.
Yeah, for sure.
They've mostly had the same dungeon here halfway through. Now with the big key, we'll be heading back towards Argus. The room that Fox is in right now is one of my favorite rooms in the entire game. It just feels very crisp when you get this room nice and quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Some cool setups we can do to hookshot to these pots.
I was around when that setup was found to get the pot that has the key under it. Before that, we just had to like gamble that we were on the right pixel.
That also sounds pretty fun.
But yeah, I remember just kind of being like mind blown when that got posted in the SRL IRC chat. Even it was that long ago, before Discord.
No Twitch clips, nothing. How did you guys ever learn anything back then?
It was a long, slow process, unless you were Zelda, in which case you still got good insanely fast, even despite the gaps in knowledge and resources. Fox was coming into Argus. Let's see if he gets the 0 cycle strategy. It's pretty difficult to do. Looks like he has it. Yeah.
He's only a pixel or two away from getting hit there, but very nice. Finishes it off. Good phase 2 with the fire rod. The initial hook dash, he's just probably going to opt here for some slashes. He'll try and clear it off as fast as he can here, but he's probably going to get at least, definitely a movement now from Argus, but not the worst thing that can happen.
One movement's not too terrible. He was slow getting down to that bottom wall, and I was worried that that was going to interfere with his phase 2 kill timing, but it worked out.
Yeah, usually missing that initial hook dash, it typically spells the end of your zero cycle or even fast 1 cycle chances. And it does happen. You're not going to hit every item dash you go for. So we've all been there. So Fox will probably save a little bit of time here. They had a mostly even Swamp Palace until that boss fight. Fox gonna pick up 6-ish seconds on Lanx there. But Misery Mire has been where races have turned in this tournament. Vitreous especially has been the big bully of the tournament thus far. Surprising, and then when I thought about it some more, I guess it's not really that surprising. He's probably the most common death for runners, even at a very high level. I mean, obviously Cold Stare is one that gets you every once in a while, but the health situation in Mire, you're putting yourself intentionally on lower health. You're doing damage boost strats on Vidi, obviously to do the fast strat, so it's just something that if it's a little wrong, you're instantly dead. And kind of unique in that respect for your Dark World boss fights. Meyer itself is a relatively short split, and pretty consistent. There's almost no RNG. There's no real significant RNG in the dungeon. In this lobby room, maybe you might save, half a second to a second and a half based on what RNG you get. But
yeah, it's most significant when after you get the small key and you're coming back. If the snake is in your way, I think you lose about a second. That's the biggest swing right here. What room Fox is going into now, and he got the good RNG. He'll be able to dash to the left there. You like to see it.
Very nice. Also, Lanxion had a really nice fast Meyer too. It's a hard strategy, very tight window to get the fast strat in there, but he did it very well. Another strat that I cannot do, no matter how much I try and practice it.
It's very difficult, yeah. Oh, Lynx gets the bad RNG that I was talking about. You see, you can't. That Fire Snake's blocking his dash to the left. It's unfortunate.
A 105.10 torches from Fox. This is a pretty traditional spot to kind of check your pace, your torches time, and it's going to be nice because these two players are going to get there pretty close together, so we'll be able to see. It's probably going to be about a 20-second difference, it looks like, since Lanxion lighting them at 105.30. So 20 seconds here midway through Meyer.
In this strat, there's a room, or there's a. In this room, there's a strat where they can take intentional damage there.
Oh, Fox going for the full attempt at frame ruling the spark. You love to see it. Actually, got a really good damage boost out of it, probably because he went for that. Oh
no!
Okay.
Oh man,
that is actually a really big time loss if you have to go back into that room.
I've never seen someone miss it with the hook shot. That would have been a first. So, good thing that didn't happen. It's
You actually have to go. You actually have to go 2 screens to the west to get the bridge to reset. So it's like a humongous time loss if you do have to go back into that room.
Yeah, definitely. Just whip out the Yuzuhara hover tech. Actually, I don't even know if that would work with the lasers in that room.
Just frame rule the lasers while hovering. It's RTA for Yuzu. It can be RTA for the rest of us. We're midway through Spooky. I don't know if there's really much point in us explaining Spooky, but very nicely done so far from Fox, using the splash damage that he has offset to hit switches that are not currently visible on his screen. Lanxion doing the same thing.
Yeah.
At this point, with Spooky being as old as it is, it's just so firmly in everybody's muscle memory that it very rarely goes wrong. Now on the Vidi fight for Fox. Looks like a good first 2 damage boosts. Gonna slash the eyeballs down, no problem.
Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what you want to do with, oh, he accidentally didn't fire an arrow there.
At least he didn't mirror. That's the important part.
Yeah. I noticed a lot of runners, and it seemed like
okay.
Oh
Man, Lanx was like 1 step away from walking into the goo there. Oh boy.
Oh man. Yeah, it was. Oh man, that was frightening.
Lanx's arrow count may have dictated that he go for the slashes there. I hate slashing the last eyeballs because sometimes they'll just like go to move and they'll slide backwards a little bit out of your sword range. But on 8 arrows to finish the fight, if you're on 16, you really don't want to fire any arrows at the little guys. So he went for the slashes and just whiffed with the first slash. But shout outs to Sankheart. We're still alive. Going to T-Rock. It is going to expand Fox's lead a little bit here, though. So the time that he lost to Lanxion Ice, he's clawed a lot of it back in the last 2 splits.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we're going to be 22, 23 seconds behind for Lynx. Both going to get the ice rod. These crabs can be pretty scary. Fox is going to take it really safe with a flute there.
Oh,
Lynx
no.
it's
All right.
lucky.
Wow.
That's very lucky. That it's only a 50% chance that that rock will have a bomb. If he hadn't done that, we'd be looking at him just having to enter the fairy cave and farm it. Sometimes I've seen players get stuck there for a good 4 or 5 attempts before they get the bomb.
Yeah, it's not a spot you want to be. He got a little bit spooked by one of the early crabs and just dropped the bomb probably even sooner than he wanted to. You're used to kind of just dropping the bomb as soon as you come out of your dash there, and sometimes if you cut your dash early because of what the crab is doing. Oh, Fox got through. That's okay. It looked like he might be stuck and blocked there, but this is a fun overworld segment with all these dead rocks. He's down 2 hearts, which is fine. Going into T-Rock, it's not a big deal. See if he gets the quick warp. Looks like he's got it. Very nice. Free quick warp.
Oh man, he's got to be on like the top pixel for this Quake. If not the top, then one of the topmost. This Lynx block.
Oh, yes, he is. Oh, such an annoying dash to have to do.
Yeah.
I didn't get a look at where the dead rock was when Lynx started the dash, but even when sometimes he looks safe and he's out of your way, he'll just do the 1 out of 4 movements that put him right in the way as you go up, and there's nothing you can do about it. Lynx also getting the quick warp, though, and that's what's important. I don't know if either player is watching the restream. I think they both are because they're both typing in chat at least. I was just wondering if we might see with this medium-sized lead that Fox has, he might have considered mirroring out there and conserving some health for chomps, but he's just sticking with his normal strats. It only loses it loses about 4 or 5 seconds, I think, to mirror out and go through. It does buy you a little bit of extra damage that you can take here in Chomp's room. He doesn't get the fairy drop either, so I'll be relying on Chomps to be nice, which it looks like they are.
Yeah,
well done, well timed on that second. He got a pretty short movement from the left one, so if he hadn't been as quick on the Samaria second shot as he was, he probably would have taken damage, so well done there.
Lanxion noticing his movement was slow in that room, so that was smart to play it safe. And not go for the good damage boost, because it probably would not have worked. And that still is a little faster than mirroring out.
Yeah, if you can't make it around that first roll, or it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
He's going to get his fairy drop.
FoxLisk gets his.
Lynx gets to do the very fast block and beam strat there. Beautifully done. Decent Pokies RNG here in Pokies 2. Oh, but Fox getting the 8 drop. Not like this. The best way to mess with your Ganon muscle memory is to have bombs still in your inventory when you get on the Ganon fight.
Both players with full hearts and magic right now, though, which is good. It almost guarantees at this level that the the back rooms are going to go well if you have all those resources.
You can every once in a while take some damage here in Pokies too. Just if you get a little too careless, and that always feels bad because you lose your beams right before they're going to be very useful in the Crystal Roller, but both players getting through with their beams to Crystal Roller. Fox going for a fast laser skip there. I think realized that he was going to bonk and pulled out of the dash.
Yeah, it's a tough strategy. Tough not only from an execution standpoint, but you also have to read the beetle and read your position very quickly.
It feels like a tough strategy to decide to put in runs, and then a matter of time until you have enough experience with it in runs before you're actually very consistent with it. But Fox obviously feels comfortable doing backdoor Trinix here. One head down, pretty good RNG from the second head, and no issues there. Good laser skip from Lanx, going with the more traditional block strat. Ooh, a little spooked by the Helmosaur. It did look like he was going to get hit, so nice read. As Fox finishes Trinix, very solid T-Rock. Oh, Lanx getting a little stuck here. Kind of an infamous room for going badly at the wrong times. That Peg Maze room.
Yeah, for sure.
Nicely done by Lanx there, getting the second head, even though it had kind of almost hidden itself completely to the left side there. Can be a little tricky getting that dash coming down and not running into Trinix's foot on the way.
Now we're coming into Ganon's Tower. Wow, FoxLisk, I think, has gained more time there even.
Yeah,
Like,
he is having
yeah.
very solid Dark World. Outside of the Cold Stare, does get the rather unfortunate sword out into this cutscene here. I think he also did that on the Kiki dash in Pod, so letting his dashes linger a little bit too long on some of these. But yeah, really, really solid Dark World from Fox outside of Cold Stare, and you know, Lanx hasn't played too terribly, but Fox is basically putting distance between the two of them on almost every split here in the Dark World. It's been really, really solid on his part.
Fox nearly 50 seconds ahead now after that. It's, yeah.
Yeah, definitely with the 2 levels that these runners are capable of, it's down to basically needing a rather large mistake from Fox for Lanx to have a chance, but Ganon's Tower is always fun to watch even when the runners are displaced by this much. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Even the basement, there's a lot of really cool strats that they're trying to execute, and tight windows they're trying to get their inputs in. Like in that room, even just some of the hook shots in that room are pretty cool.
You know,
I'm gonna be interested to see if he tries to get rid of his bombs in the basement here, or if he just kind of holds on to them.
There are a few mistakes you can make in Ganon's Tower that are pretty brutal. One of them coming up is ice armos. Mistakes in ice armos tend to be of the god-awful variety. You really don't want to make any sort of mistake there. We'll see if Fox has a good fight.
Fox did dump 2 bombs, but only 2 bombs, so it's a little tricky to get rid of this many upstairs. Again, not a huge thing if he has bombs. It's just you try to not have bombs, so it's gonna be interesting. Oh, really nice chest turn there from Lanxion. And exactly what you said happened. Luckily,
wasn't that bad.
yes. Luckily, it just only took him a couple extra seconds, but yeah, sometimes you can just get hit early in that fight, and there's nobody who's practiced a mid-fight recovery once you've gotten knocked out of what you're normally doing there, and you're on ice, and suddenly there's 4 Armos lining up at the top of the screen, and you've never been in this situation before.
You blow through all your arrows. It can go really, really badly.
Fox's mistake is certainly not even close to how much extra time you'd have to take to mess up your Ganon bats either, so he's totally fine on that respect.
Yeah.
You have to waste a significant amount of time in this fight to mess up the arc variable. Very nice fight from Lanxion. We'll be going for one last chest turn here. And does not get it. But we saw 2 or 3 chest turns from Lanx, or at least I saw 2 or 3. I probably missed a 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm. Fox taking that room very carefully. I don't know if he normally does that, but... Gauntlet.
Not a bad recovery there from Fox and Gauntlet 2, realizing that he was just going to have to shoot that guy for his best results. So many things to learn about these rooms in Gauntlet, just different RNGs and what you can recover from and what you're unable to recover from. What kind of recovery to go through. Like there's doing this Gauntlet fast when you get good RNG, and then there's doing the Gauntlet fast when you get not good RNG, and the latter takes a lot of time to get good at.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately, short hop there on the 3rd worm, unable to get the 1 cycle Landmo.
Definitely think I've told people before that I could just about write a book on Gauntlet 2. Just Gauntlet 2.
It would be a very frustrating book.
Yeah, yeah.
Good Wizrobe rooms from Fox. Looks like Lanx's Gauntlet has gone pretty well as well. Let's see if he can make up a little time on the Landmo fight here.
Wow, all the worms came right towards him.
Just wanted a piece of Lanxion.
Fox getting through that room. That's another one of the places something can majorly go wrong. If you enter those stairs on the exact same frame that the torches in the previous room go out, you actually have to mirror. Get something called Jingle Glitch. And the dungeon kind of breaks. And you can't finish it. But playing Moldworm 2 a little carefully there. Generally, if Moldworm 2 is like kind of stuck in a corner, bouncing back and forth, you can just swing your sword and hit him. Some players don't know that. But your sword always prioritizes his tail.
Agate 2 fight is literally impossible. Maybe the hardest. Oh, look at this RNG though. They're all sitting on top of each other. He's gonna get a free triple to start the fight.
Yeah.
Jeez, where is that when you're on PB pace? Oh, really nice damage boost there. Oh. All right, the second cycle there was harder than the first. He did a very nice job to deboost, but doesn't get the blue ball. Gets the easy 2 cycle. Never on PB pace, but sometimes when not on PB pace. Lanxion getting bullied in the mini Helmsaur room. So Fox just a Ganon fight away from taking this match. A really, really solid run so far for him. Let's see if he can put the finishing touches on it.
Gets the trident spin. Link's having worse luck on Egg and M2. Really unfortunate to only get a single there.
It's the hardest fight in the game. Changed my mind.
Dude, I'm not going to change it.
It's also really easy to be bad at Aga 2 like I am. You got to put a lot of work in there to really learn. To get anything out of practicing Aga 2, you got to put so much practice into it.
Yeah.
A lot of warps here for Fox the end of phase 3, but he is through onto phase 4. Starting out with Blue Ganon, a little unfortunate. Didn't miss menu despite having bombs in the inventory though, so that is a win for Fox.
The nice thing about Blue Ganon when you do get it is that usually, I would say probably 90 to 95% of the time, you get put on a good cycle right away for hitting triples, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, really smooth phase 4 so far, hasn't missed any spins.
Yeah.
Lanxion getting his second phase going, although Ganon's not cooperating very much. And Fox is through with his fight. Well done. Even going for the dash at the end. Clearly very comfortable with his dash timings. It can be a little scary sometimes. But GG's to Fox. Played a very, very solid Dark World. Solid run overall. Really just the, cold stare calamity away from having a great run.
Plus 24 on PB with that cold stare. Like, that's pretty good. That cold stare and 2 blue balls. Wow. Yeah. Big props to him.
Doing it in a tournament race too, like, not easy. It's definitely something that nobody really has a lot of NMG tournament experience, and so it's tough to be anywhere near your A game in these kinds of races. Lank's finishing off his Ganon fight. He's missed a couple spins, but it looks like he's just one hit away. There it is. GG's to Lanxion. Very solid run for Lanx too, outside of just a couple things where, T-Rock losing a little bit of time on the Overworld and Swamp Palace on Argus, but not the worst run from him either. Very solid tournament style run.
Can you hear me?
And hey, I think we're joined by Fox. Yo, what's up? GG's.
Hey. Thank you.
So, how did you feel about your run?
Well, it was a really good run, except for like 2 or 3 things. Like, I'm really happy with it overall. Obviously, you didn't want that to happen on Cold Stare, but could have been worse.
Yeah, it's gonna happen sometimes. Outside of that, like, Dark World, super solid. You've been putting up really. I can't 100% make out all of your splits on the low res commentary restream, but they all look like they're single digits, except for Ice Palace. So versus your golds, and that's usually a pretty good sign. And like Josh said, only 24 on your PB with that cold stare. It's basically the entirety of the cold stare fight is the difference.
Yeah, just about.
I think Lanxion also jumped in here. Yo, what's up, Lanx?
Hey, what's going on?
GG's, dude. Solid
GG,
run,
Lanx.
good run from both of you. Good race, very nice.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah, it was good. I'm glad that it was 2 blue balls, kind of we're always in the same dungeon. For the most of the run, we were in the same 2 or 3 rooms, which is pretty good, I think. He kind of pulled ahead towards the end there through some real my Turtle Rock split was yikes.
Got off on the wrong foot early with the Dead Rock.
Yeah, dude, the Dead Rock's trying to sabotage me in 2 different splits, and I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. But that's the RNG of the run, right? That just is what it is. It's I could blame Dead Rocks, or I could blame any number of the 1,000 other mistakes I made. That would have been the difference, Yeah. But no, that was an awesome run, Fox. And mid 125. In a tournament race, against a pretty close runner is a really good time. So
Yeah, I can't expect to not planning on having to do much better than this in the rest of my tournament races. this is about as good as I'm expecting. Pretty happy with it.
For sure, and hot off a new PB, so that was awesome. Very
Yeah, was
cool.
this
Very-
was
very
this the
fun race.
your first run post PB? Was this
Oh yeah, I
one?
was fully expecting to get like a 131.
Dude, that's the worst. Oh
Yeah.
god, you gotta
The
flush one of those
follow-up.
out. You gotta flush the pipes out.
I just didn't have
Usually
time.
not great. The follow up to a PB. But
That's
this was
right.
PB quality. I mean, for 90% of the run was PB quality. So getting that back to back is a really great sign. Super consistent.
Yeah, for sure. Very happy about it. I was watching the restream a little bit, but I don't really know what exactly happened with Lanxion.
Early on, I think the bigger divider was I was down to 2 hearts before I went into Hera, and so yeah, I got like double rock that in the bottom, and so then I grabbed
Oh god.
yeah, and then I hit baby switch, we'll call it, I guess, to do that, and then I had a really long Landmo fight, and then I think I got knocked in a hole in Aga, so like that was kind of like the divider for the rest of the run. I closed it a little bit when you messed up Cold Stare a bit. And then I actually, the really screw up in Turtle Rock was getting Dead Rock. Then also, on going to get my Ice Rod, I put the bomb down too early with 2 crabs next to me. So I did like a bomb and slash, and it was really aggressive. And I threw the bomb and I missed. So I had to dash over and take the 50-50 to get the bomb, which I did, which is insane. Like that's some bullshit that should just not happen. Like it should have just been over. Like I should have been farming that screen for 30 minutes. Like you deserve that kind of thing to happen to you. So like, and after that, like you just never gave up any problem. Like I think the best thing I had after that was like I had a good gauntlet. But other than that, it was just like you were putting the pedal to the floor for the rest of it. Now let me catch you. So that was
Yeah, I had an awesome TR. It was only like +2.5 on my gold. My Ganon's Tower was actually pretty bad, but then I got the luckiest, easiest 2-cycle in history, so all of us
Yeah.
were forgiven.
We were laughing. The clones and the real Aghanim, they all teleported to the same spot in his first cycle. And me and Blaine were just like, really?
It was like
You
impossible not to 2-cycle that RNG. It was incredible.
I might have found a way if I wanted to. No, that's awesome. Like I'm so glad. Like I said, like I'm glad. Like this was supposed to be a pretty close race, and like you had a hell of a run, and so like I can't even be mad about a mid 120, like a mid to late like 126. Like that'll be fine against most people.
Mhm.
But like, wish I had that earlier in the tournament. But no, this was a lot of fun. I was really looking forward to this, and I hope you go on to crush, man. That was awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I had a really good time. I'm glad that it ended up not being any disasters. Same blue balls, I think. Everything.
Yep. Yeah, it's just like a bunch of minor disasters that end up getting you, right? So.
Yeah.
So Fox, you're gonna move on to face Fricker in your next match.
Yeah.
Oh baby.
That's a hot matchup. As if this wasn't hot enough already.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Lanx, I think you're gonna take on the winner of Matt and Parisian, who I don't know if they've scheduled their game.
Good. I'll take a couple days off. That would be really nice.
Oh yeah, no rush on anybody's part. We're making pretty good time through this so far.
Yeah.
But
like.
yeah, so interesting matchups for both you guys coming up. We're getting into the real meat of the tournament now. Like this, you guys kind of kicked it off. The first matchup between 2 players with 125 or better PBs, and basically we're gonna have that every 2 days going forward for a very long time.
I'm so
Was this the
excited.
first race in our like top round of whatever 16 or whatever we're at?
No, Apathy and Bitey both have played and won in this round.
Okay.
And checks also, and checks. So we're decently into this 5th winners bracket round.
Some really sick matches. Like it's like only sick matches from here on out. It's gonna be awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there's still a good number of people alive too. Down in the lower bracket, we've still got a lot of like just it's all over the place. Plenty of people left fighting for their lives down there, and all of the matchups down there are also going to be between guys who we've seen it already in the tournament, right? Like all of these races decided by a minute, 30 seconds, 90 seconds, PBs that are very close to each other, and it's just it's only going to get crazier and better if that's possible. Hopefully it gets better, but
Yeah, for sure.
I've been having a lot of fun watching you guys put on a great show here, as you have in the rest of your races. And yeah, hopefully everybody else is enjoying watching it too, because we're not done yet. We got another month to go.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah, Josh.
So you speak. You speak. Didn't want to interrupt you there.
Well, I was gonna say I'm glad we brought Josh out of retirement to come do commentary for us. We really appreciate that. I'm excited to watch this back. So, thanks.
Well, speaking of not being done, we do have 2 matches tomorrow. We got Shady Force versus Gem at 4 p.m. Eastern, and a Pathy Dark versus Buran. Oh, that's a good match at 10 p.m. Eastern. Oh, I need to watch that. It's like absolute like midnight o'clock for me too, but I gotta watch that. Holy crap! But yeah,
I gotta dust off some of the cobwebs. I think doing too much commentary lately, not enough practice runs, but it's just apathy. So
we need to stay in the tournament. We can just commentate all the matches, right?
For sure. Well,
Yeah, thank you so much
for all that. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Wanna thank again for the runners making this possible. FoxLisk and Lanxion, you do put in an awesome show today. Go follow both of them. Also, Buran and Josh, go get yourself, go follow them. They've been sitting here talking for like 1.5 hours, so I think they deserve your follow too. But yeah, I think with that being said, I think we're done here. Been an awesome night. If you have anything else to add, then I'm listening. But if not,
thanks everybody for hanging out. Looking forward to the next one.
all right. We'll send you all over to Checksuman again. Checksuman tends to be awake and streaming at this hour, so it's been like the 3rd or 4th raid I'm sending over to Checksuman in a row now. But yeah, thank you so much, and see you next time.